outside. It's like 75 and sunny in Orange County, so can't complain.
Nice.
Yeah.
I used to live in Orange County. It was always 75 and sunny.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So it's a little weird with the coronavirus and people staying indoors, but trying to get outside a little bit. So
Good. Well, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
We're gonna record this, put it on YouTube later, as we've been doing with all of these. And my goal here is, I think in times like these, companies have a responsibility, especially companies like ours. We turned off all of our advertising, and for me, what I wanted to focus on is getting really good advice and just honest opinions from people that are experts in certain facets of the situation, to tell us their perspective, and then let our audience listen and just make their own decisions. So that's my goal here. With that said, will you introduce yourself and tell people what you do? And we went to the same university. We lived in Minneapolis at the same time, so I've known you for like 10 years. Haven't seen you in a while. But thanks for doing this, and take it away.
So my name is Dr. Quinn. I practice at UCI Health. I work at an integrative health clinic. So we focus a lot on primary care, integrative health. So that's combining the best of conventional medicine and Eastern medicine as well. So we work a lot with people on lifestyle, diet, supplements, herbs, all kinds of different medicine to optimize health. So I think right now, in a time of this coronavirus epic, we are, just trying to get people as healthy as they can so that they either, one, don't get it, or B, they're as strong as they can be if they do get it. So
great. So I think let's break this into two parts. One is, what's the percentage they're saying now of people that are going to get it, just to start?
So it's pretty broad, but they're saying 40 to 70%.
40 to 70%. So what we should talk about first is, let's see how we can figure out to be that 60 to 20% that doesn't get it. Like, let's talk about what we can do to do our best to prevent it. And then let's talk about what we can do to make it as painless as possible, assuming some of us are going to come in contact with it at some point. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
My brother just commented that somebody's sound is bad. Jacob, whose sound is bad, mine or hers? Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that we don't lose this because I think it's important.
Yeah.
Well, he's going slow. We'll start, and I'll cut you off if it's you.
Okay.
Oh, it says hers. I think maybe you're a little far away. I don't know.
I'm using my phone, so it's pretty close.
Okay, everybody's saying you have a bit of an echo.
Let me see.
Everybody's saying that. Okay, thanks for the feedback, guys. 1 second. This is
Let's see.
maybe if you got it sitting on something, it reflects back, in the microphone.
Is that better?
It's always sounded good to me. So let's go for it.
Okay. So, in order to stay healthy, obviously keeping a routine is super important. You want to make sure you're sleeping 8 to 10 hours at night. You want to make sure you're eating a well-balanced diet. You want to make sure you're exercising, reducing stress. So it's pretty normal. I've seen a lot. People are really stressed during this time, and that has an effect on the body's cortisol. So when cortisol is up, the immune system goes down. And so maintaining a healthy level of stress is really important so that the immune system is strong.
Right. I mean, yeah, that is the double-edged sword here, right? Is that this stresses people out, which makes them more receptive to a cold. So, I've been telling people, hey, the social distancing thing is real, even though it's a weird thing to say. I've been going out every day on hikes with my dog. I've been going out in the woods, and I'm not in Orange County, so I don't have as many people around. But what kind of things is it? Is it strength training? Is it like long, slow endurance? Is it high intensity? Does it matter at all?
I think as long as people are getting out there, moving, getting outside, that's great. For right now, I mean, under normal circumstances, I would say good to get a combination of cardio and strength training. But for right now, as long as you're moving, I think that's the important thing.
Cool. So keep moving, keep exercising. Maybe just stick with what you normally do. That's probably the most consistent thing for your body, going back to your routine, right? So then, so exercising, what else? Sleep, food.
Sleep is super important. Food, so making sure you're getting lots of nutrient-dense food. So, healthy proteins, healthy fats, lots of vegetables. I know if you go to the grocery store right now, a lot of the, preservative foods are gone off the shelf, canned foods, frozen foods. But there's a lot of food in the produce section.
I noticed that.
Yeah, so make sure you're going, a couple times a week, grabbing some of those foods if you can, or getting some frozen organic fruits. So you're going to get more nutrients from organic fruits and vegetables. So I think that's important to note too. Keeping your immune system strong is really dependent on getting all those nutrients in.
So give me a grade, because I always like to make this more tangible so people can relate. So this is what I did. I went out and I got canned stuff to make moose chili. I've got the other half of that guy right there in my freezer. So that's a pretty healthy thing, but it is canned food. And then I went and I got bags of spinach, which I put in the freezer because you can put that in smoothies or whatever else. And then I went and got bags of frozen berries. And I've got oranges, apples, bananas, stuff like that lasts for a long time. And I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's like, well, stuff doesn't last. And I thought, well, even if you're getting it in the first week, you're getting a long ways towards at least staying on a pattern until you can get more, right?
Yeah, and I think if there becomes a time where we don't have access to fresh produce, you can supplement with protein powders. A lot of those are really nutrient dense. Common ones even that you can find like Orgain or Vega One, things like that. Good to have a couple of those on hand. Just making sure you're getting a variety of foods, and try to get a vegetable in with every meal. Try to get a dark berry or dark fruit in. Those are going to be high in antioxidants. So yeah, all that's really important.
Great. How much sleep a night?
I think 8 to 10 hours, but I realize that that's not realistic for everyone, especially.
It might be now.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, and then sleeping at normal hours too. So I think, with people being home, they maybe are staying up later, watching Netflix and going to bed later. It's really important to follow the circadian rhythm. So making sure that you're sleeping when the sun is down and you're up when the sun is up, that's going to be really helpful too in maintaining good melatonin and cortisol levels.
Interesting. How much water?
At least half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, at least 100 ounces of water. Got
it. And that's like, in our 72, we sell a 48-ounce Nalgene. So it's like more than 2 of those, which is actually a lot of, I'm going to admit, that's more water than I probably drink in a day unless I'm working out a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, now you know what you can work on.
I will. Okay, cool. So those are really good preventative measures, but given the fact that a lot of people are probably going to come in contact with this, tell me a little bit about what people can expect, what they should look for. I know there's a lot of, nobody's getting tested. I don't know if I have it. I've got this tickle in my throat. It's one of those things where every time somebody sneezes now, it's like, it's like a swear word. So how would you advise somebody in there to just kind of remain calm and navigate this, given the fact that we probably aren't getting a true insight into if we have it or not?
Yeah, well, I think for most normal, healthy, young individuals, so say you're under 50, you're relatively healthy, you don't have any other comorbidities like diabetes, cancer, things like that. A lot of those people will get it. Whether or not they present really severely or not is another story. But just know that, one, there's not a lot of testing kits available at this point. So unless you have a fever of 102 and you have a dry cough and you're presenting in that way, you're not going to get tested for the time being. I'm secretly told that April 6th, we're going to have a lot more tests. So.
Oh, great. Yeah, I talked to a nurse here in Park City, and she told me the rule was, even if you think you have it, stay home. If you start getting confused and dizzy and really having severe stuff, then call and they will come to you. But don't just go to the hospital because you may have it, you may not, and it just kind of compromises everyone.
Well, the thing is too, getting tested really early could be a false negative as well. So a lot of the tests aren't going to be positive until you really have kind of developed more of the severe respiratory symptoms. And that being said, even if it does come back positive, a lot of the treatments that we're having are more supportive. So hydration, rest, kind of the common things you think of when there's a cold or flu. So there are a couple medications that are in trial right now, but they're not ready to go. Yeah.
Oh, lost her. Oh. You're back. Sorry, you lost you there for a second.
I'm back. Yeah, so the medications they're in trial phase right now, so they're not giving those to patients.
Got it. How long does this typically last for? Like, isn't it 5.25 days from when you were likely infected to when you see symptoms? And then, is that accurate? And then how long, what's the tail on this?
Yeah, the average incubation period, so the time from when you're exposed to getting symptoms, is about 5 days. They're saying the time when, like 10 days later, is when you're probably no longer contagious. So,
okay.
But definitely double check with your healthcare provider before going back to work and, being around people that have immunosuppression or who are older, who might be at risk of developing a more serious, presentation of this.
Got it. So there's a lot of questions around, is this going to come back? I mean, is this going to die off in the summer with humidity? I did some research on that. I'd love your perspective. But how long do you think this is going to, like, from your perspective, how long do you think this is going to go? And, we hear about herd immunity. We hear about summer killing viruses. We hear about maybe coming back in the fall, that people are more immune. What do you think the forecast is in this from your perspective?
Yeah, that's something we talked about on our Zoom call yesterday. And it's, is this virus temporal? Is it just going to be in sort of the winter and spring months? And I think for right now, people don't really know. Obviously, we've seen a trend with colds and flus to be more prevalent in, from like November to March. So maybe we can expect that. But, with this still being on the rise, maybe that would not be the case this year.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what would be the case?
Hard to predict, but I think that, we can anticipate this probably getting worse before it gets better. So, we're already going to be going into April. So I think we will see it a lot throughout this summer.
Okay. Got it. What else would you like to tell people? I like to keep these kind of short and sweet.
Yeah.
Just give people tangible advice, but what else would you like to share?
So I did some research this morning because I had a lot of people asking me about what kind of herbs and supplements to help support the immune system. And definitely my go-tos are vitamin C, which is kind of an obvious one. You can get that from food. You can get that from a supplement if you can find it. A good quality multivitamin, probiotics, making sure that the gut health is working really well to support your immune system, and zinc. So I know zinc lozenges are really hot right now. But if you can't find zinc, good sources of zinc in your food are going to be pumpkin seeds. So keep some pumpkin seeds on hand.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah. And then I had a lot of questions about elderberry because that's an herb that we use a lot for immune support. But actually, we're finding that for this particular virus, it's not a good option. So a lot of people have been giving, their family members, their kids, this herb. It's pretty easy to find as well. But for this particular strain, I would not recommend it. So, and
what would you say is more effective, like vitamin C through a fruit, like an orange or strawberries or whatever, or an actual vitamin?
I would say get both if you can, but it's going to be more easily absorbed with foods for sure.
It is.
Vitamin C is water soluble, so it's pretty easy for your body to absorb. Around 3,000 milligrams a day would be good. Your body won't really absorb more than that. So just keep that in mind. If you're someone who has like the emergency packets and you're having like 20 a day, like probably don't need that many, but yeah.
Right. If your pee is like glowing, you're probably a little over the top, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That might have been me for a couple of days. That's really helpful. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions I have. I know this was kind of a quick opportunity to get you on here, and we're going to share this.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we just want to give people tangible things they can do. I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now. There's a lot of people trying to understand what they can control. My belief always, obviously, our perspective is preparedness. And when you have a plan and you're working towards executing that plan, that even makes you de-stressed because you're kind of accomplishing something and you're getting ahead of it and you feel like you're working towards it. So,
right.
I'm always trying to tell people, like, focus on what you can control. There are certain people that start doing the math on hospital beds and everything else, and they go crazy, and it's like, there's nothing you can do there.
How do you control? Yeah. So one other thing is patients who have other pre-existing conditions, the two that I can think of off the top of my head that are really prevalent, diabetes and hypertension, so high blood pressure. It's really, really important for those people to, keep a healthy blood blood pressure, and also maintain healthy blood sugar levels. So I think during this time, it's really easy to get really stressed and have your blood pressure go up. Also really easy to kind of binge eat and let your blood sugar go up. So for those patients, if those two things are not under control, you're going to be at much higher risk of developing a severe case of this.
Gotcha. I just thought of one last question. We were talking to a few, it seems like respiratory issues are one of the main things that happen here. And then as ventilators and hospital beds aren't available, that seems to be kind of the threshold for people and where it gets real serious. There's other oxygen options out there. There's those like up here in Park City, a lot of people come up and get altitude sickness. And they have those cans of oxygen. Yeah. Is there anything people can do to just kind of protect them? Like, are those effective? Is there something people can store up on just in case grandpa, has a hard time breathing and maybe isn't going to get a hospital bed for a couple days and that's helpful? Or is that not really the case?
So one thing that we use a lot is a nebulizer. So you take the medication, you pour it in the nebulizer, you breathe it in, and that would be for like glutathione and N-acetylcysteine. Those are both things that you can find from like a compounding pharmacy. You might need to get a prescription from your doctor, kind of depending on the state you live in. But yeah, getting a nebulizer, doing steam inhalations will be really helpful as well. So getting some essential oils, eucalyptus, rosemary, breathing that in. And then you can also do oral N-acetylcysteine or NAC, and that's going to be really helpful for clearing out the lungs and making sure the lungs are functioning really well.
Is that like a allergy type inhaler or what is that exactly? Those are big words for me.
Oh, sorry. The N-acetylcysteine?
Yeah.
That would be an amino acid. It's a supplement that you can find in a capsule. Just take it orally. Glutathione is a really, really strong, potent antioxidant. And so nebulized glutathione, you would breathe that in through the nebulizer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you. What else? Welcome. Is that it? Good stuff.
I see a question. Why not elderberry? Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So it's kind of complicated, but basically taking elderberry is going to stimulate the immune system, increase pro-inflammatory cytokines like interleukin-6, which they have found to be a mechanism in the coronavirus. So when there's too much action going on around one mechanism, it can cause a cytokine storm, and then it's just way too overwhelming for the body, and basically it can put you into respiratory distress.
Whoa.
So,
good answer.
Complicated. But that's the short answer.
Thanks, Maggie. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to link to your Instagram. I know you do a lot of question and answer stuff on yours. So if people have additional questions, they can hit you up.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Stay
really
safe.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And we'll get through this. We always do. People always do. It's just kind of doing our best to work together. So thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.